It's super serious, the heart. And I know that you talked about this in Welcome to Adulting. I want to speak to the Gen Z, the millennials, about delayed adolescence. I know that you talk about some statistics where if you compare a 25-year-old versus their parents' generation when they were 25, they're 2 times likely to still be in school, 50% less likely to be married, 50% more likely to be on the family payroll. So what's your brotherly advice in response to someone who's saying, I want to follow my passion, I want to work within my passion? What are your thoughts and what's God's words on this?
Specifically on following your passion?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know, speaking to a younger generation or to pastors who are trying to minister to a younger generation, your passions change like the wind. If I'm talking to singles, it's so easy to see that because every person they've dated that they're no longer with, they're extremely passionate about dating. And this generation's changed jobs more frequent than any other generation that has ever existed. And so they jump in a job, they try it, it's hard, they jump out. And they jump into another job, they try it, it's hard. And so what you miss out on that is mastery. Like mastery comes with grind. Like mastery comes with, hey, when it's hard, you keep doing it. Like when you don't feel like it. And this bleeds into romance as well, of course, because I think we get into a marriage until it's hard and then we get out. I thought they were the one and clearly they're not the one. So I've got to go now find the one. And it's just like, it's really been complicated with options. The more options we have for jobs, the more personality profiles, Lion, Otter, Beaver, Enneagram, StrengthsFinder, Myers-Briggs, whatever test we're taking to try to figure out which job we should be the most passionate about, it's not going to prevent our passions from changing. And so when does it, when should we commit to something even when our passion wanes and just work hard at it? And I always think about the Apostle Paul, who was a tent maker, and I wonder if he would have tested, and taken a professional profile to figure out what he should do when he grows up. I wonder if it would have said tent maker. And more than likely it wouldn't have. And he's just like, I'm a tent maker because I want to further the gospel and it funds my ministry. And so I think about our great-great-grandparents. Like most of our great-great-great-great-grandparents were in agriculture of some sorts, not because they felt called to it or they were passionate about it, but because they wanted to eat, because
right.
their grandparents did agriculture or farming, and so they did agriculture and farming. That's what they learned, and that's what they did because they wanted to eat.
And that's what they passed down. And then the child was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and so I think we over-index on this idea of what am I passionate about, and I would say, what am I curious about? What do I want to learn more about? And what do I want to commit to becoming better at, regardless of how I feel at times? And then I think a lot of times wealth is generated from that commitment to excellence and hard work.
I love it. I think that's an important word that needs to be talked about because, when I was growing up, going through school, it was all about just trying to pass, some test and bubbling in the ABCs. And then when you get let out into the real world, you feel like you're kind of looking for a passion. Well, there's no ABCD test to that. And then sometimes you fall into something and it does get hard and it gets confusing because you think, do I double down on this because it's hard and again, find that mastery? And so I think that is a good word for many young adults to hear. But the other fascination for millennials and Gen Zs is about truth. And it's so fascinating to me how we've got confused about truth and also this renaissance in searching and seeking after truth. Why do you think that is?
Well, when you say truth, what do you mean?
Truth being that I just have to find my truth. And I have to find that truth that really, that my life is based upon. And, again, that your opinion is one thing, but my truth is this.
Yeah, that's different, right? So that's not the truth. When we're talking about somebody's truth,
right.
That's relativism. And so that's what I was going to say is I don't think we are obsessed with truth. I think we are obsessed with feelings, and we're calling our feelings truth. So whenever somebody says my truth, like that's That's what I immediately interpret. Hey, you're not talking about the truth. And so it's like, somebody can say, hey, my truth is I can fly, and I'm going to climb up to the top of this 30-story building, and I'm going to show you that I can fly because that's my truth. And I'm like, you don't understand. Your truth is about to coincide with the truth or conflict with the truth of gravity, and you are going to be pulled down to the ground at nearly 100 miles an hour, and all of your bones are going to shatter, and your life is going to leave, and that's the truth. And so I think
that's the truth about gravity for sure.
Yeah, and so it's just like, Jesus says, I am John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one gets to the Father except through me. And so I can believe in universalism, like, hey, always lead to God all day long, but it's just not the truth. It's not what God said about himself, how you get to God. And so I think it's, I think regardless of what someone believes, like, we have to find the truth. What I would say people are obsessed with is happiness. I don't think most people are on a truth journey. I think they're on a happiness journey, and they're trying to figure out, hey, what's going to make me happy? And if I can control what is true, they think, hey, that's how I can determine happiness. But the problem is, if they determine that something is true that's not true, it's not going to lead to happiness. It's going to lead to despair. A gravity is going to kick in. That's my point of what I'm saying there.